Greetings. Greetings. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversation with Tony Mobley. I am the host of Conversation with Tony Mobley, and we are excited to share with you today that we are. I'm overwhelmed to be transparent because I have been trying to get my guest back on for quite a while, and she is so busy, and I'm so excited that she is here with me today. Dr. Mosina Morris, PhD, Director of Morehouse Metaversity Program, and the CEO and founder of Metaverse United LLC. She is with me today, and I'm so excited. This is episode 25 of 2025 of Conversation with Tony Mobley, powered by Mimo Live. We want to thank everyone, the team behind Conversations with Tony Mobley. And you can find Conversations with Tony Mobley at conversationwithtonymobley.com. This also is an opportunity to ask Dr. Morris questions. If you're in the YouTube chat, you can ask a question in the YouTube chat. However, if you want to take priority over getting your question asked and answered, we ask that you look at the Mukana chat. The Mukana chat link is in the YouTube chat. And there you can ask your questions, and your questions can be voted up or down. And so we'd like you to participate in this conversation with Dr. Morris today. And last time we had a little bit more than an hour for this conversation, but we only have an hour today. And so we want to be mindful of Dr. Morris's time. Again, we are welcome. We are happy to have Dr. Mosina Morris here with us today. Thank you, Dr. Morris. Greetings. Hello. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I am a mom. I have an 8-year-old that is running around here that did not get the memo to not come walking in with his tablet.
Well, we're happy that you're were able to resolve the issues that your 8-year-old has, and we also want to be reminded that you have 5 sons. Is that correct?
5 boys.
And you now have
A
a
great,
granddaughter.
yes. A beautiful granddaughter. My oldest son understood the assignment that my husband did not. So we now have a little baby grandgirl by the name of Araya Jade Green Morris, and she is my pride and joy, and really just a lovely child. I'm not saying that because she mine. I'm saying it because it's true. But she's sweet. She's a sweet little
Oh,
girl.
yes, yes, yes. And so we're going to get right into the questions. The very first question is, who is Dr. Messina Morris?
I'm still a child of God, just a child of God, but I am an innovator. I am an educator. I am pioneering spaces in different places when it comes to the metaverse, XR, AI, immersive technology, immersive intelligence, making sure that our community knows where they belong in the embodiment of the internet, which we call the metaverse or spatial computing. I am a biomolecular chemist who has a PhD, who was inspired by her brother that was a special needs sibling. I have long hoped that I would be the person who I see before me and who you all can be proud of. But at the end of the day, I am really just trying to mold the minds of our future leaders to make sure that they are prepared for what's next. And also spreading the word of God and love, because people told me a long time ago when I was a chemist that I couldn't, that chemistry or science and God couldn't reside in the same space. And I reject that theology. So I am a living witness that faith and tech and STEM and all of that can exist, and you can believe in the goodness of God and what the universe is telling us and is offering us as tools for us to live a better human existence.
All right. And now we're going to go to the very next question, which is please talk about Dr. MOM.
Yeah.
What is
So
that
I
about?
listen, I am a professor at Morehouse College. And when I started teaching, but I've been teaching for a while. So when I got my PhD, I went back and got certified in K 12 education science, grade 6 through 12. So I'm still a certified educator and I taught in high schools for many years. And it never failed. All of my students have called me mom in some shape or form because I am a nurturer by nature. Literally, I want to make sure that I love people fully and that I show up authentically as myself in every space, and especially when I'm dealing with young people. So I got the moniker Dr. Mom from my students at Morehouse, and it did not matter. They were going to call me Dr. Mom. Dr. Morris did not matter. It was Dr. Mom because they said that, their mothers weren't present and they lived on campus and they came to see me in class every day because they felt like their mom was showing up to love on them. And so I told them, that's fine. You can call me Dr. Mom, but make sure you know that it means molder of minds because I'm here to mold your minds and make sure that you become the men that you are supposed to be. And for whatever reason, God just has that for me because I have five sons. So I figured 2,500 more ain't gonna matter. I'll take it.
That's all right. That's all right. Please talk about the 2025 UMCC Cyber Camp.
Oh, that was so fun. So I did this camp back in 2023, and it's basically something that the University of Maryland Global Campus does with educators from all over the world. And so these were middle grades and high school K-12 educators that they apply for this program. It's very competitive and they learn about immersive and emerging technologies and how to integrate it in their classroom, but they also learn about some cybersecurity essentials and things like that. So they invited me to do a tour in 2023 and I did it using the Victory XR platform, just like, they're our purposeful partners, and I'm going to shout them out because they are the secret sauce behind Morehouse's Metaversity as well. And so we did a tour, and I was able to lead a tour in virtual reality on the VXR Labs platform on yesterday with them. And at first, I was like, you know, how is this going to work? Because we're talking about bringing 33 educators that don't have any background in immersive technologies, and this is some of their first times putting on a headset. And I do workshops and everything for educators, but I like to like ramp them up. So this was an amazing experience because I got to be fully present and bring my joy into the space. So a lot of them were a little timid, a little nervous. Um, Wanted to show up perfectly in the space, and like I told them, this is the time to fail forward. This is the time to explore and to bring joy into the space and to find out why you love to do what you do. So for me, being in virtual reality brought back the joy that I had for teaching. And yesterday, doing this tour again, it brought back my love for virtual reality and educators. Now, I do training sessions all the time, but this was just, I don't know, it was different. I think I had gotten to a place where it became routine a little bit, like I do it all the time, all the time. But for them to be so appreciative, to be so welcoming, and to be so happy to learn and to explore, they had a lot of aha moments that were just so refreshing. So it made me believe again that me training 1,000 educators about AI and XR was really, really worth all of these ups and downs and lows that I go through just being in the business for myself. Just trying to consult, just trying to make sure that everyone has all the tools that they need to be successful. And it was a good time. It was fun, real fun.
What is the Metaversity?
A metaversity is a place of higher learning that happens for us in immersive virtual reality using the MetaQuest headset. So we use the twos and the threes. But we have a digital twin of our campus, of Morehouse's Century campus, and several other places within the campus, like our chemistry lab and the RayPac Performing Arts Center. And our students are able to go and learn in not just those environments, but other virtual environments that we've created, whether it's them going back in time or them going through different experiences. We get to share with them a different presence in a persistent real-time 3D environment that is completely simulated, but is hyper realistic and mimics some of the things that they will experience in real life. We've taught 44 courses using immersive virtual reality at Morehouse College. Actually, it's 46. I keep saying 44 because that number just rings for me, but it's been 46 courses. And we have taught them across all disciplines. So in history and English, journalism, business, and students just get in chemistry and biology. Obviously I'm a chemist, but students get to experience a different way of learning, a different way to engage with the content that they are learning, and they get to explore in ways that they just haven't been able to. So if it's technology that is out of their reach, like for our journalism class, they're able to work with camera equipment and things that they would need to work with in the field, but we just can't afford to bring onto the campus. They get to set different camera angles, whether it's up on a mountaintop or if they're going up Mount Everest and recording. They get to do those things and they get to do them in virtual reality. For our business students, they were pitching to VCs that came into the space with them, and we're able to listen to their pitches about their environmental and their UN sustainable goals. So that was really, really refreshing for them to have the opportunity to be around powerful VCs in their entrepreneurship course. And then we have a microbiology course where they took their headsets to class and were able to experience different lab techniques and things that they were doing at the bench, also in virtual reality. So there are many ways that we've been able to explore the Metaversity model, whether it's been fully remote, whether it's been in a hybrid setting where they've been at home, some of the students, and some of them have been in class, or whether we've done it where everyone brings your headset to class, and once you're in, we have experiences together in different places.
That's That's fantastic. I want to share something with you, and I'm going to ask your patience as I set this up. Hopefully, you will like this. This is a recent moment that I want to share.
Lord have mercy.
Here we go.
I am honored, if you can't hear it in my voice,
I'm gonna cry.
to announce the recipient of the 2024 XR Women Trailblazer Award, Dr. Lucina L. Morris, Senior.
I bring you greetings from Atlanta, Georgia, from the campus of Morehouse College, where we made virtual reality the classroom, and we did it in the most amazing way. I taught my advanced in organic chemistry course using immersive virtual reality, and that totally transformed the game for our students. I have to thank Morehouse College, Victory XR, who are our ed tech partners in this fight. But I love you all, and to all of our partners that fund us, thank you. Oh, that's pretty.
I am.
Okay. I just wanted to share that. I saw that earlier today, and I thought I'd share that with you. And I I hope that was okay for you, for me to share that. And I want to take this time to say to all of the educators who may be watching and those that parents, um, I'm not sure as we are having this conversation, that people understand the magnitude of what you have done and are doing in the context of Morehouse College being one of the first, and Dr. Morris can really speak to this, one of the first college universities to actually have this Metaversity in place, and the things in which they have been able to do in terms of being able to do history, being able to do science from the standpoint of actually taking out a heart, and the participants, the students can actually touch it, turn it around. Um, Dr. Morris, can you just speak a little bit to that, please?
I think the most impactful thing is that not only does Morehouse represent young Black men who are on a mission to become educated despite all odds, but Morehouse represents the blueprint for the way that XR is integrated into education with excellence. Not only were we the first to do it, but we did it before some other schools even had the courage to broach it. So the Ivy League schools are not the blueprint. It is Morehouse that's the blueprint. A historically Black college and university that represents 2,500 young Black men that graduated 511 young Black men this year, which was one of our largest classes. And these young men are going on to do amazing things. You are a man of Morehouse, a Morehouse man. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's refreshing to know that they have been leaders in this space. And not only were we able to have students participate in these courses, it's not about them just being users of this content, but they were builders too. So they helped build these culturally responsive spaces in the metaverse for themselves to be able to see themselves reflected in a space where they weren't. There were places that were sterile, um, just not representative of the culture that they bring to the environment, and they were able to shape what they wanted to experience. So we flipped the classroom and allowed them to bring content and 3D spatial objects into the space and to create museums to represent Black inventors and women in STEM and all kind of things that they wanted to. And we partnered with the Apex Museum on a particular project, and we've explored what it looks like to be representing using avatars that are actually culturally appropriate, where you don't just have European features and just a dark colored skin. So we've looked at different aspects of what it means to be Black in tech, Black and proud of who we are, and bringing the culture with us into spaces and not just sitting at a table, but actually building the table for what we want it to be. So it's been a huge opportunity, and Morehouse is the blueprint for over 200 metaversities globally. So we have been the ones that are leading the path, but I've been the one that's behind the scenes also training other educators, doing metaverse office hours with educators around the globe, doing and bringing community college presidents into the metaverse, just like I did with the Cyber Gen Camp, bringing educators into space. I travel all over the country to other K-12 institutions, but also higher ed institutions to train their educators, whether it's virtual, doing professional development or professional learning. I do it. And I'm proud to do it, and I'm happy to do it, because it means that we're going to be better. And I think that education is the biggest adopter of these technologies. And our young people have to be prepared for what is the next workforce. Because what are we educating them for? To be quite honest, if AI and technology is moving as rapidly as it is, they have to no longer just be the sociologist. They have to be the sociologist that's looking at data, that's using AI to actually analyze data. that's going into immersive spaces and being trained by people from other countries or other places in the world so that they could have the latest and greatest techniques, where they could be geographically agnostic, where they don't have to actually move their physical bodies but could have their avatar presence in the space of great people and actually get hands-on training and learning and gain skills in that way. So it's really important for them to have an idea of how this technology is being used, how to use it for humanity and for good, how to use it to solve complex problems that the world will face, how to bring the culture with them when they go, how to show up in excellence no matter what the space is, but to also be prepared that what you thought you were going to be because of your degree, to know that that's not quite enough, that you have to innovate, you have to be quick to change, master the power of the pivot, know when to discern what's right and what's good from what's going to cause harm. And all of these things are now having to be taught because the power of the technology now.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Do you have some words for parents and K through 12 educators who might be watching tonight?
I do. I was doing a talk earlier today for Gatherverse. It was the XR Evolve Summit, and we were talking about the intersection of XR and AI in education, and we were talking about education on the edge. For my parents, you are your children's first educator. You cannot take your hands off your child and put them in front of a screen and think that that is humanity, like that they are going to learn humanity or to be kind or to be compassionate or to be giving or to be servant leaders. You have to still direct the the things that they're going to ingest. We have a lot of technology and we have a lot of people putting not so useful information out there. Let's say it like that. But it appeals to our children. And mindless watching of screens is different from very targeted, useful, educational um learning that can happen with screens. So I tell my parents, get involved. Don't just give them the technology and don't put it on your head too. Don't just give them the tablet and walk away and say, phew, I got a minute. No, you should have parental controls on everything that your child has. You should have access to every password that they have, because the world has too much access to our children who are too innocent and too precious to have that amount of information coming at them in all directions. So we have to be very careful that we are still parenting our children and that we're still spending time learning what they know, looking over their chat histories, cutting off what you think doesn't work, pruning out their YouTube subscription and saying, no, you're not subscribing to that, and I'm blocking them. Making sure that you are present as a parent, even with the technology. And it's not telling them, get off of that. Don't do that. No, sit down and play a game with them. Even if you're sorry, it don't matter if you win or don't. But sit down and play a game and talk to them about the critical thinking skills and why they made decisions in a particular game that they were playing, or why did they make a particular choice about something that they wanted to entertain them, and talk to them, because they still need your guidance, they still need your knowledge, and they still need your heart and your humanity. So that's what I would say to my parents. Get involved and don't just step back and say, oh, the technology gonna do it. Oh, I don't understand this math, so just get on AI and do it. No, sit with your child, spend time with your child. You have been given a precious gift, somebody to mold, somebody to leave a legacy within, and it's your responsibility. So be responsible with how you give technology to your child. and do it in a way that is going to be fruitful and useful for them. Don't just allow them to sit there and just binge scroll. No, you say you're going to get on this particular app, you're going to do it for this. You can teach faith through the tablet. You can say, listen, you're going to do Bible stories from this time to this time. This is blocked off. They don't have to be on Roblox all day. And if they on Roblox, say, listen, what you building today? What are we gonna do? I get in Minecraft with my son, and I'm horrible at it. I'm horrible at it. He's amazing at it. I'm absolutely horrible. And he knocks down everything I build, and I don't care. But it's the fact that I am there with him, and I am monitoring the chats that he's in, and I'm seeing who's coming in to talk to him, and I'm saying, no, we're not talking to that person, or no, you're not on that server, or no, that's too grown or adult for you. You're 8. So you have to get involved, because you can be in that same space with them and monitor them at the same time while they're having fun. Like I said, my son tears down everything I do. For my educators, stop being so worried that AI is going to take your job. It already took it. If you worried that AI is going to take your job, it's already gone. AI has already taken your job, because if you feel like your job is to sit there and babysit children, and that you watching children and they get on your nerves, and oh my God, I can't take them, they too bad. If that's your job, then AI already took your job. Your job is to make sure that the students are getting what they need, because make no mistake about it, these young people are our future. Bad, good, or indifferent, they gonna be your doctors, your lawyers, the criminals. They're gonna be whatever you create for them. They're going to be. You spend more time with these children than their own mothers and fathers do. So you are responsible to show up every single day great for them and setting an example. You are a role model. And you can't say, oh, it's just on the parents. It's not, because the parents don't spend as much time with them as you do. You spend more time with them, and so they're watching your behavior. They're watching how you act when things get hard. They're mimicking you. So the children are a reflection of you. If you push AI aside and think that all AI is going to do is train them on how to cheat, then you're not teaching them how to use it to develop discernment, how to be more fluent in digital technology, how to use it to write and develop better frameworks, to be entrepreneurial, to be innovators, to be better citizens. That's what you should be doing. And so don't shirk from using and integrating AI in a way that is fruitful. Let me say this. When I was in the high school classroom, there was a problem with phones. It was the beginning of the smartphone era. Parents were getting phones for their kids. This was when active shooting was it's still big. Let me not say that, but this was when it was beginning like to become really bad, and parents were afraid, and they really wanted their child to have a phone, especially in high schools and even in elementary schools. So students would get on the phones, but social media was also blooming at that time. So kids would be on Instagram, and they would be recording on TikToks. They'd be doing Vines. They'd be doing just all different kind of stuff. It wasn't TikTok then. It was Vines. But either way, kids would be on their phones during the middle of the day, texting, talking on social media. And the only thing that academic administrators could think was for you to take their phones. I was like, I'm not taking nobody's phone. First of all, phones cost a lot of money. Second of all, all they're gonna do is text their mama before they give up the phone and tell a story about why you taking their phone, and their mama's gonna get upset because you took their phone, because parents for whatever reason don't even respect teachers, and I don't get that part. But what I learned was, I'm not playing that game with you. You're going to use your phone as a tool. This is the first time that you've had a very powerful tool in your hands called a subject matter expert. If you don't know, be on your phone. I did work on my phone when my shoulder was injured after that car accident I had, and I had to have major surgery, and it took my whole right arm, and I'm right-handed. I did my work on my phone. I transcribed on my phone. I did Canva on my phone. I did posts. I did all kinds of things on my phone. So this is a very powerful tool for you as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, as a professional to access and to do any of the things you need to. You don't even need a computer. You don't have to sit in front of a computer. You don't have to do that anymore. So I made my young people use this phone every day. They had to bring their phone. They would be mad because they got in trouble and their mama took their phone. I said, "What? You let your mama take your tool? You needed this. It's like pen and paper." So you needed it to play games in class. You needed it to create content in class. You needed it so that you can get on the class Instagram page and post what we learned, and I give you a framework, and that was a grade. You needed it because we were shooting content and videos that they then had to put together and talk about what they had learned. You needed your phone every day, every day. And so if I gave you something to do with this phone, then you had no reason not to have the phone or to be doing nefarious things, because you wouldn't be engaged in what we were engaged in. You wouldn't be getting your grades the way you want to, and you were visible. Because at that time, I could say, we have a Instagram page. Now they block all that stuff, but we had an Instagram page, and you had to post the Instagram, so your parents knew whether or not you was posting. Your parents knew or not if you
Mm.
was tweeting. Oh, why I ain't see your tweet today for class? Dr. Morris said y'all had a tweet. 'Cause I So they knew whether their child was on track or not because everything was open and transparent. But my students have always had access to me too. One of my teaching philosophies is build a rapport with my students before asking them to perform. I don't want them to just perform for me because I am who I am and I'm saying do it. I want you to respect me as a human being, because I'm going to respect you. I respect what you bring to the table. I respect your brilliance. I know that you have different intelligences, so we do multiple intelligence tests. We talk about metacognitive strategies. What are you thinking about, baby? How are you thinking? What angle are you coming from? What lived experience makes you think like this? I want to know what they're thinking. And sometimes educators get so afraid of being intimate, educationally intimate with their students, and getting inside their head and figuring out where they're coming from, because they've been told that they're supposed to be a particular way, or don't do this, don't do that. There's a way to be kind and show compassion and show interest in a child without it crossing a line. No, they're not your friends. They're your student, but you show up every day with excellence and with compassion and with kindness, and you start them over, and you have forgiveness, because kids gonna get it wrong. They gonna mess up every day. They gonna make a mistake, but so do we as human beings. And so you have to be that kind of person that every day that they come through the threshold is a new day for them. That you're not reminding, oh, there go bad Keisha. Oh, you gonna show out today like you did yesterday. They might have had a bad day. They could have had, they just human. They're gonna have bad days, and they're not in control of their lives. So you have to be kind, and you have to show them kindness and show them that you care every single day.
Well, thank you so much for that.
I know that was real
Um,
long-winded, wasn't it?
no, that was great. That was fantastic, actually. Um, we're gonna we're gonna we're gonna pivot a little bit. So this next question is: please give me some suggestions for how the metaverse might be used in a house of worship or virtual service.
I did church in the metaverse for a while. Um, So I have a colleague, Dr. Ovell Hamilton, who's also a VR pioneer with me, who teaches history and is the department chair of history at Morehouse College. He's also a naval officer, retired naval officer, and and a minister. And so he has written a book about the history of the Black Church and Church of God in Christ and all this stuff. So his church is now also involved with using AI tutors to teach these Bible lessons using spatial computing. So is my church. So we brought the youth down to Morehouse to give them a tour of the college and to also see the technology that we have and what's possible with virtual reality. But the metaverse can be used for several things. And what I learned by even doing church in the metaverse with where really all I did was stream our church services. I created a space in spatial, and put a screen there and invited the world in, basically, to watch church with us, which is a low barrier to entry for a lot of people. But what I found by doing that and inviting people in, and I've done it on the Engage platform as well as on in the spatial platform, but what I learned was that people who had disabilities or had been shunned for church from church in some way or had some kind of church hurt were more apt to come into the environment in that way and share their stories as to why. So one lady that came in was so, she was like, oh my God, I was just, it was Sunday, I got in my headset and I just was looking around at different worlds and I saw yours, and I'm just so glad that you're doing church. I haven't been able to walk into a church because I have problems with my hips, and I have chronic fatigue syndrome, and it's just so frustrating. But I've never known that I could find a church service in this particular space. And I literally was just trying to find something to kind of make me feel better about my circumstance. And I found you. So I think that it's amazing what we can do when we make room for God in spaces. And I think that we should, because faith and tech can reside in the same space. I actually have a calling to create an immersive world. It's called Walk the Word. And God has been on my back about creating this world. I got a whole pitch deck on my link tree. So if anybody wants to fund it, it's a wonderful idea with AI guides and angels that are in there that'll walk you through scripture, and you'll be able to look at yourself as who you are in God's eyes, which is a reflection of who you actually are because you are made in God's image. And so it's all about making sure that people actually read the word. One of the things that I learned from my students at Morehouse was that being in that immersive space for chemistry made them actually read the book. And so I'm hoping that if you experience the love of God in an immersive way, if you experience these Bible stories and these things in a way where you're in the character role, or even a fly on the wall watching David as he fights Goliath, watching the courage and the things that he had to go through, or watching Moses part the Red Sea, and the fear and that people had, but the faith that it took to know that they were going to get across and be safe. So what if you were there in that
Mm.
space, reliving that, just like we go back in time and look at things historically, like we do with the La Amistad slave ship and with battleships in World War II. What if you could go back in ancient times and be right there with Jesus as he walks, right, as he's
Mm.
recruiting his disciples, as he is going through different things? I think that that would make people gravitate to wanting to embrace the word of God, because one of the things that we don't do enough of is read the word of God. Literally read the
Mm-hmm.
word of God. And I want people to know that we want to experience God all the time. We want some kind of miraculous aha moment. But God left the word of him. He left his word. So anytime that you want to hear from God, just open up your Bible. You can hear
Wow.
from God anytime. Anytime. And if you really want to hear from him, go read the ones that's in red. Go flip to the New Testament, go read in red. You
All
know,
right now.
like just you have access 24/7 to God. But you have to know that you do. And so sometimes we're looking for a miracle to happen when really all it takes is for us to reach out and grab the word and hear from the creator himself what he wanted you to know. And no, we know that the scripture that we read today has might have been distorted or whatever, but we believe in faith that the word that will be coming to us is still fruitful, right? For building up of our spirit. So we
Yes.
take what we can from it. We don't look at it literally. We walk by faith, not by sight. And we say, God, whatever you want for me to know from this word, bring it to pass for me. And he'll do that. And you have access to him all the time. And so we have to make room in these spaces, no matter whether it's in the metaverse or some other virtual world, for God, because people need to know God and people are seeking excitement or encouragement all the time because they're lonely, they're deeply lonely, and they need to know that they matter. And why not show up as a human being with God in your heart for other people? That's the charge. So don't
Amen.
think that the metaverse is not a place for that, that it should be siloed. No, there is always a place for God in every discipline, in every field, in everything that we do. You have to bring the love of God with you.
I'm going to say amen. Thank you so much for that. I thank you so much for that. And now we want to talk about your business, the United
Metaverse United.
Metaverse United.com.
So I was on a plane headed to the Augmented World Expo back in 2021. And it's like all of a sudden God just laid this in my heart. So I'm a chemist that works with a specific demographic, young black men ages 18 to 23. And it's like other people besides just that demographic need to be reached. It's like it was a calling to unite all of these siloed spaces that were happening that weren't interconnected at all in the metaverse. And so Metaverse United was birthed from that. And our website is unitethemetaverse.com. And I just was on there on the plane, listen, created the LLC on the plane, created the website, got the URL and bought it, all of that while on the plane in 2021. And so Metaverse United mission is to help people find where they belong in the embodiment of the internet called the metaverse. And I always say that I am working with demographics from the womb to the tomb. So trying to make sure that we lower the barrier of entry to these technologies that make up the metaverse, whether it's cybersecurity, whether it's networking, whether it is AI, immersive technologies like XR, so extended reality, mixed reality, augmented reality, virtual reality, making sure that we are keeping up with the way the intellectual property is changing in this space, the way that businesses are booming and innovating in this particular space. How is the economy changing in this space? What does it look like to be doing business using crypto? What are we doing with Web3 and NFTs and all of those things? Like all of this is new jargon that nobody knows about. Blockchain. People are unaware. They think blockchain is a new CD out there. Listen, old people think it's a new CD out there. Oh, you got blockchain? That they think that's an artist or something. No. So you have to make sure that we are keeping up with what trends are happening. And so then I started One Metaversity, which is on the school platform, SKOOL. So you can go to school.com/One Metaversity. And I'm going to be offering, starting in the fall, courses in AI, in AI for educators, AI one-on-one for just anybody who wants to know anything about it. It's self-paced. We'll have live classes once a week, but it's not just AI. I'm also doing XR. I'm doing AI teaching assistance, how to launch yours. So all of these courses, I've been working in the background to make sure that while I'm training people in person, while I'm training them virtually, while I'm doing all these keynote speeches and I'm doing listening sessions with people. And I also have my podcast, Beyond Reality, but that I'm also making sure that I'm standing up content for people to be able to grasp on the go, to be able to be immersed and to learn about these technologies and how to integrate them immediately into the spaces that they need them to be in. So, Metaverse United is all about my consulting work, helping people find where they belong. So, I deal with a lot of educational institutions, a lot of businesses, actually, small businesses that want to use this technology for training and development. We've used this technology already for mindfulness practices, just to help with metacognitive strategies for making sure that people know how to unwind before, during, and after work, and just giving them a space to release while on their job. So it's a whole business model around how you can use this technology, and I'm a strategist that helps companies figure out how not to get left behind and what's the single best thing that they can do to build their business around how this technology could be the most fruitful for them. So that's what Metaverse
Wow.
United does.
Wow. We that's fantastic, and thank you so much for sharing your QR code. We have a question from Laura Thompson. Can you talk more about how technology impacts students with special needs?
Oh, yes, because that's one of my communities that I'm helping find where they belong. Um, this technology is very powerful when used appropriately for those who have special needs. So I'm a special needs mom and a special needs sibling. So I have a brother that had meningitis at 4, left him brain damaged. And I've never known him to be a neurotypical individual. He's always been neurodivergent. The left hemisphere of his brain has no activity. And he's my big brother. So he'll be 55 this year, and we're actually celebrating him, getting ready to do that. His name is Gordy. And so I have a long history as not just a special needs sibling, but also as a special needs mom, to learn how to use these technologies to help not just the parents, but the educators and the persons with the special need. For my son Seth, it's a great communication tool for him, for me to understand how he's feeling, for him to be able to express himself. Um, I can guide him in virtual reality and have him experience things that give him fears. Like, so he has some phobias and some anxiety. And I can take him into spaces that make him feel more calm and help guide him through. And then I may not be able to have a full fledged conversation that is reciprocal with him, but I have seen the changes in the way that he stems. So he will stem less after being in certain environments. He is happier and smiles more after being in. So you have to look at the actual physical cues from him, because he might not be able to express it to me, but his receptive language, his ability to receive information is really high. So I know that he's taking it all in, and it's empowering him. Also, like my brother, who is also nonverbal and cannot speak, it allows you to take this technology, can be used to help you advocate for them and the needs that they may have. So I use AI actually a lot for this particular thing, is helping. My son has medical needs too. So my son and my brother, so my brother's medical guardian, but I'm my son's medical advocate, obviously, because I'm his mom, but I'm the scientist in the family, so I'm everybody's medical everything. But honestly, AI has been very helpful in helping me to even delineate all of the information that I get from how they're feeling, from their day to day, what, even from what they eat, the intake, making sure that I'm giving them I mean, literally from water that they drink to the vitamins that they take, to looking back over blood work, making sure that I am advocating for the right types of therapies or medications, or even times that they might need more sensory based activities, whatever the case may be. It's giving me more ability to advocate in a way that is professional, because being a special needs advocate is an emotional role. When you are having to speak and speak up and out for those of us who can't do it for themselves, it is an emotional road. And I can tell you, I can get out of pocket real quick now. I'm also from Decatur. I'm just a little black girl from Decatur now. And I tell, like, so, but it helps me to stay in a professional way to get my point across without getting too deep into my emotions. Now I'm gonna cry later, but sometimes crying is not just the answer because people still don't know what you need. So it helps me to be able to speak to what needs to happen for my child. A lot of these decisions are hard to make. To tell somebody that you know that your child needs to be institutionalized after a particular age, or if you're no longer living, that's a hard decision to make. That's hard to articulate into words, into a will, into an estate plan. But you can have AI help you find the words and the terms to even speak to your family about the care that needs to happen beyond your life. And so that's what it's helped me to be able to do, and help me to be able to navigate some really complex legal terminologies, trying to put it all together. They throw a lot of jargon at special needs parents and at educators too. And sometimes in order for you all to get things done, you have to work as a team. And AI has helped me work with the medical team to talk about different things that my son may need, different testing that they are not used to. Because, contrary to popular belief, people in the medical industry don't really see a lot of cases of kids on the spectrum, and they don't necessarily know how to speak to the parents. And so I've been talking to the medical community and to organizations like Autism Speaks about medical training that can happen in a metaverse setting, in immersive technology, where they could have conversations with the parent, with the patients, and with other advocates or caregivers that may be in the room or a part of that community of care for that particular person with special needs. And it's also very good for differentiating instruction. Some students are going to start here, but some students are going to start here. Now I have a son that is gifted, and whether you know it or not, because I'm a gifted person, but gifted people have special needs. Gifted people can have what's called asynchronous development, where they're super high here, but emotional intelligence might be low. Or they might grapple with fine motor skills, but their gross motor skills are high. Or they might have a particular talent for creativity and innovation, but their ability to persist or be resilient is very low. So you have to also, as an educator, work with different levels of learners. And so technology helps you to level the playing field for all your learners and start them with a more personalized plan, and you don't have to do it by yourself. Now you kind of have a teammate to help you kind of bounce ideas off. What do you think would be the best thing for a child that's kind of distracted but high in math, and kind of low in reading comprehension, but I need for them to learn this particular skill? You can ask AI that, and it'll give you back a real solid answer, or at least be a brainstorming partner. It might be something that you haven't thought of, or something that you don't know how to implement, and you can say, can you give me a plan, a 5-day plan to implement these learning objectives for this student, or for the student to be able to meet these particular outcomes, and it'll give you a plan. Now, I'm not saying it's always going to work, but that's when you go back and you reprompt and you re-put back information, and the more data you give it, the better it gets at learning
Right.
what you need. So
Yes,
that's what
absolutely.
it's good for.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you, Laura, for that great question. Um, so, what's next for Dr. Morris?
Who? What's next? You know, I don't know. And I'm okay with not knowing. The thing is, I think sometimes as experts in our field, or, we have a certain level of expertise, we feel like we should know. But I don't know. I plan on this whiteboard. Listen, got a little whiteboard over here. Little whiteboard. I plan on this little whiteboard, and I come up with ideas and I throw them away just like everybody else. I know exactly who I want to be, and as long as I can remain in that character, then I'm okay wherever God has me. I just um I set goals and I do my best to accomplish them, So right now, training 1,000 educators. It seems like an impossible goal, but I'm halfway. I'm almost halfway there, if not 75% of the way there. I got to go back and look over my
Wow.
numbers again. But
Congratulations on that.
thank
That's
you.
that's amazing.
So
That's
I
absolutely
I set
amazing.
that goal and I've done it. I've built up a pretty hefty community of practice around educators who are just willing to stand in the gap with me and join hands with me and be trained using these immersive and emerging technologies. Um, so I set goals and I try to reach them. For our Metaversity, I'm really sitting down trying to strategize funding. We're in the age where you can't say underserved, you can't say under resourced, you can't say black, you can't say male, you can't say HBCU, you can't say historically, you can't say marginalized, you can't say a whole lot of stuff when you're applying for grants and stuff. But that doesn't mean that we don't need the funding. So it's how do our institutions of higher learning like HBCUs, what is the language that we need to use to be able to be properly funded in this season? Because I can tell you this, when George Floyd died, I almost had to throw away money because the way that people were throwing money, but they were throwing money at what they felt like was a problem. But I'm gonna roll with you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna do the right thing by the people that need to be done by. But the inhumane ways that are happening towards um, how we fund certain projects that have allowed people like myself to have a PhD in biomolecular chemistry. I don't understand. I'm first generation college student. And if I had not been a part of a very strong STEM pipeline from the Reagan era, literally all the way through with them funneling money into these organizations, my entire college career was funded through the Office of Naval Research. My entire graduate career was funded primarily by the National Science Foundation and the National Institutes of Health, National Institutes on Drug Abuse. So when I think about who I am and the programs that I were came through, these programs were very integral in making sure that I was poured into in a way that they saw my potential, that they saw that we didn't have all the necessary tools in our communities, but that we needed programs to actually bring more discovery and curiosity. Because I was a kid that was curious. I had a brother that had special needs. I always wanted to heal him and figure out what could I concoct. My mama got so sick of me being in her kitchen, she bought me a chemistry set. She was like, girl, if you don't get out here, stop mixing flour, water, and rice, just anything I could, talking about I was making a potion. And so for her to have the resources of programs that happen at our schools or in our communities was very powerful. That allowed her young child that was inquisitive and digging up the earth, trying to figure out what I could find to heal my brother. That it made my life meaningful, that it made my purpose more solid. Um, and so I'm looking for funding for Morehouse's Metaversity so that we could actually continue to be the campus of the future that we need to be. And I'm looking for purposeful partnerships from people like the Victory XRs of the world that will stand in the gap and stay with us and hold our hands through some things and be that kind of like backbone that's like, hey, we got software developers here. Oh, we'll provide the education and the training for you to make sure that your students have everything you need. We'll onboard your whole institution. Like those kind of people we need to be around. And sometimes it is about how long you stay because our needs do change. And so I'm grateful that people stay for a long time. So that's one part of I know what's next because that is my 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 beginning and that is what I want for it to be a sustainable program. also for my business and for what I'm doing for myself, I just really want to make sure that I leave a lasting legacy in all the hours that I've spent building, trying to transform education is received in a meaningful way, and that I'm leaving a powerful legacy for my family and my children. The work that I do with my son that's on the spectrum with his organization, Self Soldiers, is really important to me. And so I do a lot of community based work around his organization. We just had a golf tournament with my soror, Nichelle Wilson, and her daughter, Happy Mama, Happy Minnie, for the HM Golf Classic, and Self Soldiers is a sponsor of that. But inviting young people in, whether they're neurotypical or neurodivergent, to do activities together, because our neurotypical children need to be around our neurodivergent children so that they'll know how to advocate for them, so that they'll know how to include them into spaces where belonging seems so so out of place. But it's not out of place because they're a part of our world, and God didn't give them to all of us, but for them to, because they need community. They need somebody
Right.
to make sure that they're safe. They need somebody to make sure that they are not harmed. So you have to have community around them. And so it's really important for us to remember that when we serve people who are the least of us, then we're serving God himself. And so that's an important mission for me, making sure that his legacy is solidified. So we're working on our second book. We have one book, Seth Can Do All Things, and it's still on Amazon. And we're working on the second one. We thought the second one was going to be Seth Teaches Technology, but Seth is now changed that and said he wants to say Seth is still doing great things. So that's
All right. All
Seth is
right. All
doing
right.
great things, still doing great
That
things. So
that's
he's going to have an
fantastic.
update to his Seth Can Do All Things and let you know that he is doing great things in his life. And so we're using um Chat GPT and OpenAI's chat image generation software, and I was an alpha tester for it. And they published a really nice article about the work that we're doing with creating the characters and everything using the image generation software. So um yeah, and I'm just trying to make sure that we're represented in every space that we can be in. And so however I need to build the table, then I will build it, because I believe that we all deserve a space there. I think that we all should be represented. And so however I can show up with excellence and with a servant heart, to be able to do the right things by businesses so that they don't get left out, by educational institutions. My heart is towards educators, helping even parents understand what they need to do to just better assist their children for the limited time that we do have them, and how precious those moments are for us to also engage with them. That's really important to me. So what's next for me, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to keep doing the good work, and and
Fantastic.
building my business and building my community and building up educators and parents, and um, helping advocate for our neurodivergent.
Dr. Morris, I want to thank you again so much for being here. And I want to say to Gwinnett County, DeKalb County, Fulton County, Henry County, Spalding County, Cobb County,
Come on, church.
all of you school systems, you need to be reaching out to Dr. Morris.
Yes, you should. I
You
already
should be
got
reaching
DeKalb
out to.
County on the hook now. I got DeKalb. I got Macon County schools coming up, so we helping the rural communities. I got some more schools that are coming up in the trenches, but I'm looking for Atlanta Public Schools. Where are you? I'm looking for Clayton County schools. You right here. Henry County, I'm in Henry County. Um, my kids are Henry County schools kids. So I'm looking for all of these counties around here, just like you said. I'm here to
Yes,
do
it
training, professional
this
development.
this is amazing work, and we need to get the word out. And I'm going to also issue a challenge for everyone who's watching our conversation tonight. I want you to go to YouTube. I want you to go to Facebook. And if you have access to LinkedIn, go to LinkedIn. Look up Dr. Morris. Look at some of the things that she has done. We could not talk about everything that she's doing in this conversation, There is some amazing things that she is doing. She has already shared some of the amazing things that she is planning to do. So get the information and share it with as many people as possible. Again, we want to thank Dr. Morris for being with us today. And I want you to thank your husband so much for sharing you with us for this evening. Um, you made my day
Oh, you made
coming
mine.
on tonight, and so I'm extremely happy that we were able to have this conversation. And
Absolutely.
we
Very
want to
humble.
thank everyone for watching this conversation on YouTube or on the conversationwithtonymobley.com website. We are produced by Value Audio Visual Professionals who meet daily at Office Hours Global, hosted by Alex Lindsay. Thank you, Mimo Live. And we want to say we hope that we have conversations that inspire, encourage, and uplift. We thank you so much for participating in the conversations that we've had in the past. And sometimes we ask that you go back and look at them. And sometimes you might find something that is meaningful or helpful to you. We want to again say thank you again to Dr. Messina Morris for being a part of our conversation today, for doing the work you do, and for being the person who you are.
Oh,
Thank you, Dr. Morris.
thank
Next
you.
week, you're very welcome. Thank you. Next week, we're going to have Mr. Gary B. Jr. And Mr. Gary B. Jr. is a YouTuber who has a global audience, and he provides um, he reaches out to ministries across the world with tutorials on how to set up worship services, virtual ministries, and he provides instructions to church media teams. And so we're going to have uh, we're going to have Mr. Gary B. Jr. on. I'm trying to raise his credential level. Uh, Gary B will be with us next week. And we want to thank Dr. Morris again so much for being with us again today. We're going to say good night. God bless you all.
God
Take
bless
care.
you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.